and welcome to their Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt, and I'm all alone. All sad to be all alone. Hey, you know what? Speaking of sad, I thought I'd talk about the top 5 saddest moments in movies for me. Yes, they're super sad. They're tearjerkers, folks. I'm not talking about the overall story in a movie, and maybe not even a character death, even though character deaths can be sad. No, I'm talking about that just sad moment, the moment you're like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to tear up here. Now, have I teared up in movies? Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. I don't know if a movie has gotten me to cry yet, but if you can get me to tear up, that's pretty good, man. I'm not cold and heartless, but a lot of the times I'm more shocked. If it's a character's death, I'm just more shocked at what happened. So let me look at this before I say it. Maybe there's 1 or 2 deaths, well, maybe 3 deaths, but it's not really the death. It's just the moment of it all, the significance of it or something. Just, how the storyline goes. And, of course, just like any good movie, most of these are at the end. Most of them. I think I only have one that isn't. But, there's these sad moments, and they're written really well. I just saw a few weeks ago Jojo Rabbit. And, oh, by the way, this is going to be full of spoilers. I should say spoilers. Don't even listen to this. I'll say the movie first, and if you've never seen it and you don't want to see it, then keep listening. But if you do want to see that movie, then you should stop at that point. But anyway, Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit's kind of new, so I probably won't spoil this one. But there was a little bit of a sad scene that I thought was really good, and that's what got me thinking about this. Like, man, does that beat my top 5? Now, obviously it doesn't, because I did give it some thought. I compared it to a top 5 that I came up with, and then I threw Jojo Rabbit in there. And even though I absolutely love the scene, and I do think it's sad, it just didn't make it. There's just a great scene in there. And let me think, without spoiling anything, one of the things that makes it sad is he has and this is not a spoiler, but Jojo was in a accident, and he's getting rehabilitated. His leg doesn't move, it doesn't bend that much, and so he's going to the therapist to get his leg worked on, and of course he can't tie his shoe, so his mom's always having to tie his shoe. And the shoe tying thing is the thing that gets you later on. Now I was like, oh man, because the thing is, does he even know how to tie his shoes? Or he just can't reach it? Maybe that's it. I think it's maybe a little bit of both. But man, the shoe tying scene. If anyone has seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about now. That was a little heart wrenching there. I really did love that scene. But like I said, it did not make my top 5. No, it did not, folks. In fact, I don't think I have any other honorable mentions, because all my honorable mentions I said, oh, you're sad when a character dies. I'm more shocked when a character dies than sad, even though it is sad. When a character dies, like, gosh, I guess I should do movie deaths, too, because that could be its own separate thing. So you won't see without spoiling it, let me look back. Let me think back. I may be making a change right off the fly here, folks. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make a change off the Firefly. Because Firefly, Serenity, actually, the movie had a sad point, but it was more shocking. You're like, what? Did they just kill that character? It's a great moment, too. Is it necessarily sad? Yeah, in a way, but you were sad because the character died. I don't think the character dying has to do with these scenes as much. And like, you're not sad for the character dying. You're sad for the situation of the people left over. So let me go ahead and explain here. My number 5 is a movie that I have seen, embarrassingly, I've seen this movie 4 times. I think. I don't own it. You think, well, Matt, hold on. I thought you said if you're going to watch a movie that many times, you better own it. Yeah, but I'm never going to own this movie because I don't think it's weird. It's called Untamed Heart. Yep. And if you know what that means, wow, I can't believe it. This is from the, I want to say, mid to early 90s. Young Marissa Tomei, Christian Slater. I think we probably rented it back when we were all kids, still living at mom and dad's. I remember. I think mom and dad may have picked it up first, and that's how we watched it. And then these girls were visiting us from New York, and they love Marissa Tomei. No, that was the first time we saw it because they love Marissa Tomei movies. And we were like, no, I don't want to see this. But then I saw Christian Slater was in. I was like, you know what, that Christian Slater guy, he's pretty cool. Um, Christian Slater had some of the coolest hair back then, man. It was straight, long, and it just looked cool no matter where he bent his head. I mean, if my hair ever gets that long, it looks like someone stuck like seaweed on top of it, and it just kind of hangs there limply over to the side or whatever. It's not perfectly, is the word coiffed? Over to the, with his hair, I don't know, it's not perfectly leaning around, or it looks great in every angle. But man, Christian Slater's hair did, man. He had the best hair back in the 90s. That's it. If I had anyone's hair, if I could have anyone's hair, it'd be Christian Slater in the 90s, baby. That's the kind of hair I'd want. Man, that was nice hair. So watch it for the hair. No, you should watch this movie. Well, no, you shouldn't watch this movie, but the movie is your regular, romantic. It's not really a comedy either. It's just a romantic movie where, though, and here I go to spoil it here. So spoilers for Untamed Heart. Christian Slater plays a kid who grew up with a bad heart. He's kind of dumb, like not like dumb, but he's just kind of slow a little bit. And because he believes a story that the nuns used to tell him that even though his heart is weak, but his heart is the heart of a gorilla. The king of the gorillas donated his heart and gave it. So that's why his heart's just a little too big for him, and that's why he has these problems, because it's like a strong gorilla's heart. And you're thinking, man, this sounds weird. It's part of the story. Well, he loves his records and he loves his music. That's what he loves most. And he also loves Marissa Tomei, because in the 90s, who wouldn't, right? She's pretty smoking hot in that movie. That's another reason maybe you should watch it. But anyway, so Marissa Tomei is a waitress. He washes the dishes there. He doesn't really talk to her. She has one crummy boyfriend after the next, of course. And he befriends her, and suddenly they start dating. At first she's like, oh my gosh, am I really going to date this guy? But she finds out he's not really that dumb. He's just different. He's just quiet. He's kind of, not really a social guy. But they fall in love, and they do fun things together, and they go through trial and tribulations like your regular romantic movie should. I don't even think it's comedy. But in the end, and here it comes, he is thanking her for one of the best days of his life. They went out and they did all these amazing things. And so on the way back home, he falls asleep in the car. When she goes to wake him, you got it. Yep, his heart gave out. And he passed away, peacefully. Aww. But that's not the sad part. She's going around in his house, because this is right around Christmas. And she's going into his house for the wake or whatever. And she goes downstairs to his little room. And in his room, she sees a present, and it's addressed to her. Like he had prepared a Christmas present for her. And I can't remember if it's past Christmas at this point or whatever. So she decides to take the records, and she opens them up. Whoops, sorry, they're records. And she opens them up, and they're all his records. And basically saying, "You are my heart," and blah blah blah. And here's the records that I love so much. And you're like, oh no. And I mean, yeah, no, man, that is total like just. Oh no! I just remembered a scene that I really love. Oh no! I gotta do some. So Untamed Heart is an honorable mention now. It's an honorable mention. Anyway, it is a nice scene. It's really great. Oh my gosh! I cannot believe I've forgotten about this movie. Hold on. Where would it fit in? Probably there. So okay, I do have another good one. That just made me think of another one, even better one. Okay, and what's it going to be? Put that as number 3. Okay. All right, so my new number 5 is relatively, a couple of years old, but it's Coco. Man, if anyone pulls at the old heartstrings, it is Pixar. And when my wife said, "Hey, let's watch Coco," I didn't want to see that movie. That movie looked like garbage. And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to see Coco. Coco looks so stupid." And Coco is actually a really good film. I remember thinking about that halfway, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a really good film." What was I thinking? You keep wanting to say, "Well, I guess Pixar's finally lost their magic." I know everyone's been wanting to say that, but and they've had some duds, to be sure, but Coco is not one of them. And there is just a very touching scene toward the end where the boy is trying to convince everyone that he is seeing, I think, his dead grandfather or whatever, or his dead father or whatever, and it's his great grandfather, I think. But he plays a song for the grandmother that that the grandmother used to listen to when she was a little girl, and that's the theme song "Remember Me," which is a great song. Remember me. So he's singing it, and he's trying to get her to, know the song, realize that's the song that her dad spoke to her and everything. He's trying to play it and everything. Well, then the grandmother just starts singing it. The whole family does not allow music in their home. That's the thing. But Grandma starts talking again. She's like, "Oh, Papa," and she kind of sings the rest of "Remember Me" with the little boy, and it's just a great scene. It is so fantastic. Pixar just, man, they know how to hit those moments, man. Every time, absolutely love it. So Coco, my new number 5, and yes, I am smiling ear to ear now that I know, now that I remember this other one that I just absolutely, a scene I absolutely love. It is sad, but it's just great. So anyway, before I get to that one, is one of my favorite movies, and yes, I do have a copy now. I didn't have a copy for the longest, and I realized that like a year or two ago. My wife thought, "Oh, you have a copy of Big Fish," is the movie I'm talking about here. It's like, no, I don't. We looked around, don't have it. Now I do. I do have a copy. I haven't watched it in a while, but I need to watch it again. It might be Tim Burton's best. I know it's Ewan McGregor's best movie, and Ewan McGregor I think has made a lot of good movies, but that is his best movie. Big Fish, if you haven't seen it, I'll just give you the synopsis right now. Is about Ewan McGregor, well, not Ewan McGregor, a guy who's old, and he's telling these tall. He always tells tall tales. Well, representing him as a younger person is Ewan McGregor. And so Ewan McGregor is going on these fantastic tales that are kind of they're overblown, and you can kind of tell because there's some over the top scenes. You're like, wait, did that really happen? No, this is the perspective from an old man who is embellishing on stories from his past. And what is real and what is fake? Now that becomes the big question, right? But it is a wonderful kind of, this is so cliche to say, but modern day fairy tale. I hate saying that, but that's kind of what it is. Kind of a modern day fairy tale. And he goes through all these fantastic adventures, only to end up where he is today. And so the son, of course, is like, "Pop, you're just making up one story after that. I wish you'd just shut up with it. You're embarrassing me with all these extraordinary stories that you've done and things, and it's not true." But he's a good storyteller, and everyone else loves him for that. But the son just like, "You're embarrassing me, Papa." Well, at the end of the movie, and this is where the spoiler comes in, of course the old man's going to die. And so the son is going to be burying him. And when he does, when he shows up to the funeral, all of the characters from the stories are there. And they look a little bit more serious than they did in the tale because the tale was embellished a little bit, but it appears that most of his stories were true. And as he's walking down carrying his father, I think, for the funeral, he's seeing all these people that he's heard for years about. He's never seen them before. It's like, why didn't they ever show up then? He's seeing all these people from his father's tales. And he's thinking, "Oh, what? Like, oh wait, there is truth among these stories." And then they're all telling, at the wake, they're telling stories of his dad, which match the stories their dads told, with slight embellishment taken away. So now it turns out that his dad was telling the truth this whole time, and that all those stories were really true. And of course, it gets him to appreciate his father's stories, and maybe believe the unbelievable a little bit. I kind of want to say it's almost Tim Burton's best, but Tim Burton's made so many great films. It would. This would make my top 10 for sure. Would it make my top 5? I don't know. It might. It might even make my top 5. I think it would. That'd be a great topic, right? Tim Burton films. Ooh, I can think of a lot of them that I really enjoy. And Big Fish, yeah, I think Big Fish would be in my top 5. But what a great moment at the end. And anyone who's seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. Just fantastic stuff. And I mean, it was a sad, bittersweet ending to a beautiful story. All right, so my number 3 is the one that I just now thought about when I'm talking about Untamed Heart. It has nothing to do with Untamed Heart or anything with the situation. I was just thinking about, Marissa Tomei on her bed, kind of like, wishing he was back and wishing, they're playing records again. I was like, wait a minute. I know the best scene. It's one of the best scenes and definitely a really sad scene. And that scene is from Family Man. Family Man is a Christmas movie, folks, starring Nicolas Cage. Wait, don't turn off the podcast. I'm being serious. Nicolas Cage, Christmas movie, Family Man. It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. If you've never seen it, I don't know, skip 5 minutes. Okay, I hate that I'm going to ruin one of the best scenes in it. I'll give you the synopsis, though. It's basically It's a Wonderful Life reversed. Okay, meaning he's rich, he has it all, he's successful, he's made it in life, and he's on the cusp of taking control of a big merger that's going to net him millions, maybe billions of dollars. I mean, things could not be better. He's got smoking hot girlfriends, cars, everything. He's got everything he ever wanted. And of course, this mysterious being is an angel. I don't know. He meets him and says, oh, yeah, you think you got it all, right? He said, yeah, why wouldn't I have it all? He said, well, I'm going to give you a gift and yada, yada. So he wakes up the next morning and he doesn't have any of it, folks. He doesn't have the riches. He doesn't have the cars. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the power. What does he have? He has an alternate storyline where his girlfriend from college, when they broke up, went separate ways. But what happened if he had not, broken up with her? Meaning they broke up eventually. He moved away to a school, and she tried to keep him, but he said, no, we'll still be together, and it turned out they didn't. But what if he had not left? What if he had, come back to her, turned around, didn't go on the plane, right? What would he have become? Well, he wouldn't have gotten all of his master's degrees or whatnot. He wouldn't have been powerful and strong in the world, and he wouldn't have had all these nice things. He would have been married with a few kids, dead up to his eyeballs, selling tires for his father-in-law. I mean, it's just a crappy little lifestyle, beat up old minivan. He has none of the affinities that he had back when he was super rich, He doesn't have a nice house or anything. I mean, the house is okay. And it's like, oh man, what kind of life I'm living? He wants back. He wants back to the finer things. And he's just dying to get back to his life. He cannot wait. Now, he's sitting because the angel or whatever it is tells him, hey, bud, you need to wait a while and, and just see how you like it. Don't worry, it'll be here for, I think he said X days. He's like, oh my gosh. And so he's trying to change and get back to the way he was through this alternate life because he thinks, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to, because the angel doesn't give him a date. Excuse me, the angel doesn't give him a date of when he's coming back. I'm just going to call him an angel, even though I don't think he's called an angel. But it's a Christmas movie, so he's got to be an angel, right? But anyway, so he's upset because he thinks this is the life he's stuck in, so he tries to revert back to his old life, and he's slowly regaining his old life. Like he is good on the stock market. He is good on deals and whatnot. And so he goes to his old firm, which he's not in control anymore, and kind of shows him how awesome he is, and they give him a little job. Then he's about to be successful in that, and so he's kind of rising back to what he was. But the thing is, though, that's not what his wife wants. That's not what his family wants. He's like, what are you people doing? You're driving me nuts. We can have it all. Come on. And slowly he starts buying into becoming a family man because he attaches to his kids. He's attached to his wife. He starts having, fun times together with them. And then when he's basically accepting the life he has, he turns down the big job. He turns down that lifestyle he used to have. He's just going to accept that he's going to be a family man then. And he's fine with that. Well, he goes into a gas station. This is where the spoiler comes in. He goes into a gas station, and the angel's there, and he knows what that means. He means his time is up. And so he tells the angel, hey, I don't want to leave. I'm happy here. I'm fine. He went, hey man, this is just a glimpse. He said, that's all I told you get is a glimpse. And he's like, is there anything you can do? I want to stay. Like he's in love with his family. He's in love with his wife. He loves the life he has. The life he had before, he was rich and powerful. He didn't have any friends and, not really anyone to love. And so a family is what matters most. And that's just a beautiful story there. But that's not the sad part. The sad part is, and now that I'm a dad, it really, I mean, this may even go up over time on my top 5 saddest moments, but he's sitting in the chair and he's watching his kids sleep, and I think he's watching his wife sleep, one or the other, I can't remember, but he's trying to stay awake because he knows if he falls asleep, when he wakes up, it's going to be in his, regular life, and he doesn't want that. He wants to hold on to every second of this life that he has right now. He doesn't want to miss a thing. It's so good. It's so good. Is this Nicolas Cage's best movie? Maybe. I know it's his best scene. I absolutely love that scene. It's beautiful. And then, of course, he can't stay awake any longer. He drops down. His head nods. He falls asleep. Then he wakes right back up in his rich bed, in his rich apartment, in his rich world. CEO of the company once again, and there's no one in his bed with him. He's alone. And it's such a disappointing moment. You're like, oh no! And you don't want it to happen. It's like waking up from that dream. I think that's why I connect to it, because you're like waking up from a dream that you really enjoyed. You're like, no. You're trying to grasp onto it, and it's gone. You want to hold on to every second. What a powerful scene. Folks, if you have not seen Family Man, you've got to see it. You've got to watch it. Do me a favor, watch it this Christmas. And the whole movie's great, but that is just a super powerful scene. Absolutely love it. My number 3. Now it's onward to number 2. And when I wrote these down, number 1 and number 2 were the first 2 that came to mind. And usually when that happens, they're usually my number 1 and 2. And usually when I think about a top 5, usually the first few that come to my head are in my top 1 and 2. Very rarely do I have a Family Man that surprises me later on. Okay, so number 2, I think everyone's seen, so it won't be a spoiler. I think everyone's seen these last 2 too. And it shouldn't be any surprise. I bet it's a lot of people's number 1. It's Toy Story 3. Yes, Pixar is back in it again. Pixar does some great stuff. Toy Story is actually absolutely my favorite of the Pixar series of movies. I think Toy Story is so smart. Even some of the short films that I got are just incredibly good. I absolutely love their short films too. Toys That Time Forgot, and the very short film about bath toys, which shocked me how good that was. There's one that did kind of based off Happy Meal toys. I think that's, I can't remember which one that is. Small Size or something, I think is what it's called. And even that little mini episode is really good. I know Disney Plus has the spinoff for 4 called Forky Ask a Question or whatever. It's so stupid. Those are okay, not that good. And 4 was a shame. They should have never made it. It was not that good. Sadly, they struck out on 4. Toys That Time Forgot is way better than 4. It's a much better movie. It's my wife's favorite Toy Story movie, actually. And then Tower of Terror, the Toys Tower of Terror, whatever that is, that one's okay. But Toys That Time Forgot is great. And Toy Story 4 is not good. But Toy Story 3, I don't think anything beats Toy Story 3 for me, folks. There are so many good scenes here. And no, it's not the scene where they're all slowly going to the trash compactor and they're holding hands. I didn't care about that. My wife was really upset when she saw that, but I didn't care about that. The scene that I'm talking about is the scene at the end when Andy plays with them one last time. Oh, it hit me. I was racked, man. We were sitting in the movie theater. I was like, don't cry. Don't cry. I was forcing myself. It's like, stop tearing up. Someone may see you. I mean, that one hurt. That one hurt to see. For some, I mean, the thing is, they're all so happy. They have these happy faces on. And then as Andy's driving away, I think it's Woody that says, "Thanks, Andy." Like, one last play before this is our goodbye. And it was like, oh, saying goodbye to your toys. Oh, nostalgia. Oh, nostalgia's getting to me. Oh. You want to go back and apologize to each of those G.I. Joes that are at your mom's house, right? It is a great scene, and it is definitely one of the saddest films, I think, in movie history. I absolutely think that because, and like I said, a lot of people like the scene where they're holding hands about to be destroyed, but I knew they weren't going to be destroyed, so I didn't care about that. But playing with Andy at the end one last time, I was like, oh, because you're flashing back to those good old days of the first movie. It's beautiful. I love when movies do this. I love when movies do this, and Pixar, they're the king of making those poignant, is that the word, moments. All right, so what is number one? Number one was a no-brainer. It is also Pixar. And I think you've seen this one. And this is very rare because this happens at the beginning of the movie and is the saddest scene ever, and it has 0 words. Up. The beginning of Up is borderline brilliant. It's above brilliant. Let me just say, not borderline. It's above brilliant. I do not. Toy Story 3 was really creative. Up was their most creative moment ever for Pixar. They did a scene where there's the little boy and girl talking for a little bit, and then it shows their life. And it's a piano playing. That's all it is. All the music is a piano. It's not an orchestra. It's not a composed score, sent to get emotions out of you. It's just a little piano playing, and it's flash forwarding through their years together, starting out as newlyweds, and then slowly growing old together. They're saving up for big trips, but unfortunately things happen. Flat tires or, this or that. And so they can never save up for that dream trip that the girls always wanted. And they always go up this hill and stare at clouds. At first they're just staring at everything. The next part, she starts seeing babies. So then they start trying to have babies. But then you find out they can't have babies. And so she's outside crying, and the piano music slows down a little bit. He puts his arm around her. And then that's when they decide to go. Their goal now is to go on a big adventure. So they repaint the baby room as a big adventure mural. It's just, there's ups and downs. Like, oh, she can't have babies. Oh, this is sad. And then it shows them that she's here doing stuff for him. He's all happy. And then he sees the old mural of them, that dream vacation they had. He realizes we've never gone on that. And he's determined to do something about it. So he goes to the travel agency, saves up his pennies, and buys the tickets. They are finally going. And now they're really old now, but they're finally going to get to go on that dream trip they've always wanted. So where does he take her? To the top of the hill, right? So he's running up the top of the hill. He's so excited, but she's having trouble getting up the top of the hill. And he's trying to help her, but then she collapses. And then the next scene you see, he's holding her hand in the hospital. And then he has a balloon that he brought to her in the hospital, if I'm not mistaken. And then it transitions. He's still holding the balloon, but it's at her funeral. Oh! Get out of here. Get out of here, tears. Get out of here. That is insane. Insane how good that movie is. It's like no words, just piano music. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Honestly, the pinnacle of Pixar scenes is in Up. So, that is easily my number one. So, there is my top 5 saddest moments in movies. Now, I know my top 5 may not be the same as yours, but I bet at least one of mine is like yours, maybe. Now, of course, I'm not saying you can't be sad that so-and-so died. I'm sure a lot of people have put character deaths in there as well, and yeah, I agree. And hey, you know what? There probably is a really sad scene like Family Man that it's sad. It could be sad happy too, like Toy Story 3 was. And some of these are sad happy. A lot of these are kind of sad happy in a way. But are there other saddest movies and saddest scenes in movie history that I've forgotten? Now you may name some, and I may say you're right. You may name some, I say, well, no, you're right. That's a sad movie, but a sad scene in the movie, but it wouldn't make my top 5. Like an Old Yeller. I was never really a doll person anyway. Yes, it's sad, but that just wouldn't make my top 5. It probably would you, though, because you're just a little different than me. But hey, let me know in the comments, what is the top 5 saddest scenes in movies? And I would love to know what you have to think. All right, folks. Well, that is it for me. I will see you next time on more Saturday Morning Samoflange.